Cole Matthews sat stiffly at the long ceremonial table, surrounded by towering warriors whose sharp, angular armor gleamed under the crimson glow of the hall's massive torches. The air was thick with the scent of exotic spices and roasted meat, but Cole was too focused on his new wife's glare to appreciate the feast before him. Commander Zavanna Kale sat beside him, her posture perfect, her expression unreadable. As the leader of the Vasharan War Council, she was feared across the galaxy. Yet tonight, her most dangerous opponent was the human sitting next to her, her new husband. Cole had one job: to survive the diplomatic dinner without offending anyone. Simple enough, right? Wrong. He had barely swallowed a strange, wriggling dish when a deep rumble stirred in his stomach. He froze. The Vasharan cuisine, while rich in flavor, was absolute chaos on the human digestive system. He clenched his jaw, desperately willing his body to cooperate. But then, PFFT. The sound echoed through the silent hall. Zavanna's eyes widened. The Vasharan warrior stiffened. For a single, dreadful second, nobody moved. Then, boom! The head of the War Council flipped the table, food scattering in every direction. Warriors drew their blades, their sharp points gleaming under the firelight. Zavanna leaped to her feet, eyes blazing with fury. What was that? Her voice was dangerously low. Cole swallowed. One of the warriors growled. Was that a battle signal? Another snarled, gripping his sword. A challenge for dominance. Cole raised both hands. No, that was, just a human thing. The warlord at the end of the table narrowed his eyes. A human attack. Cole's heart pounded. Not an attack. I swear. He looked at Zavanna for help, but her arms were crossed over her chest, her expression unreadable. Zavanna took a slow, deep breath. Are you telling me? That was not a war cry. Not a warning. Not a challenge. Cole winced. Nope, just something humans do sometimes. Totally normal. No need to start a galactic war over it. The warriors exchanged glances, still gripping their weapons. Finally, Zavanna turned toward her soldiers and lifted a single hand, a silent command to stand down. With hesitation, the warriors sheathed their blades, but the tension in the room remained thick. Zavanna slowly lowered herself back into her chair. Cole did the same, exhaling in relief. Maybe, just maybe, he could recover from this. Then she spoke. Humans are disgusting. Cole choked on his drink. Excuse me? She turned to him, her expression dead serious. You expect me to share a bed with someone who has no control over his own body? Cole nearly choked again. That is not what this is about. She exhaled through her nose, then turned toward the War Council elders sitting across from them. This is a disgrace. A warrior must master his body before he can master battle. If my husband lacks even basic control. The elder nodded gravely. A trial of worth. Cole blinked. Wait, a what now? The elder folded his hands. You will face a trial of worth to prove you deserve your place at Commander Zavanna's side. Cole groaned. That sounds a lot like a fight to the death. The elder's face remained neutral. It is. Cole slumped in his chair. Perfect. Zavanna leaned toward him, eyes gleaming with challenge. Prepare yourself, husband. Cole sighed. This was going to be a long marriage. Cole stood at the center of a massive, torchlit arena, the ground beneath him rough and uneven. Around him, towering Vasharan warriors filled the spectator stands, their voices a mix of excitement and bloodlust. He could hear the deep thrum of war drums, echoing like a heartbeat through the chamber. This was bad. He glanced to the side, where Commander Zavanna Kale stood with her arms crossed. She looked completely unbothered. No concern, no sympathy, just mild amusement. Let me get this straight, Cole muttered. I have to fight someone from your army just to prove I'm worthy of being your husband. Zavanna tilted her head. Not someone. She gestured toward the far side of the arena. The massive stone doors rumbled open. Cole's stomach dropped. Stepping onto the battlefield was a colossal Vacheran warrior, at least twice Cole's size, his armor etched with the battle scars of 1,000 victories. His muscles looked like they could snap steel beams. He carried a war hammer the size of a motorcycle, dragging it across the ground as he stepped forward. Cole groaned. Of course. The announcer's voice boomed through the arena. Cole Matthews, bonded to Commander Savannah Cale, must now face his trial of worth. Should he fail, he shall be cast from the clan in disgrace. Cole rubbed his temples. Yeah, no pressure. Savannah smirked. Try not to die too quickly. Cole sighed. This was going to be humiliating. The warrior stomped forward, his deep voice rumbling like a mountain breaking apart. Human, do you have any final words? Cole put his hands on his hips. Yeah. But you don't have to do this. The warrior let out a thunderous laugh. And deny myself the honor of crushing the commander's mate. Never. Cole shrugged. Had to try. The war drums boomed again, signaling the fight had begun. The warrior charged, his massive hammer swinging toward Cole like a wrecking ball. Cole barely dodged, rolling out of the way as the hammer slammed into the ground, leaving a deep crater where he had just been standing. Dust and stone erupted into the air. Okay, Cole muttered, backing up. Stay light. Stay fast. The warrior lunged again, his movements surprisingly quick for someone his size. Cole ducked under a wild swing, then jumped onto a fallen stone slab, using it as a springboard to leap onto the warrior's back. The crowd roared in surprise. Cole wrapped his arms around the warrior's thick neck, holding on for dear life. What is this? The warrior bellowed, swinging wildly as he tried to shake Cole off. Cole gritted his teeth. I call it clinging to survival. The warrior slammed his back against a stone pillar, trying to crush Cole. Cole barely let go in time, rolling to safety as the warrior stumbled forward, momentarily dazed. Cole's eyes darted around, looking for something, anything, that could turn the fight in his favor. That's when he spotted it. The warhammer. It was lying a few feet away, too massive for Cole to lift. But he didn't need to lift it. He just needed to use it differently. Cole sprinted toward the hammer as the warrior turned back to face him. Foolish human. You think you can wield my weapon? Cole smirked. Nope. Then, with one swift motion, he kicked the hammer's handle, sending the weapon's heavy head smashing into the warrior's knee. The warrior roared in pain, stumbling backward. The crowd gasped. Cole raced forward, leaping onto the warrior's chest before he could recover. He pressed 2 fingers to the side of his opponent's neck, then leaned in. Fun fact, he whispered, humans know pressure points. The warrior's eyes widened as his body suddenly locked up, his muscles refusing to move. Then, boom, he collapsed onto his back. Silence. Then, the arena erupted into cheers. Cole sat there, catching his breath, while Savannah strolled onto the battlefield. She looked down at him, one brow raised. Well, she said, that was unexpected. Cole groaned. Can I at least get a glass of water before the next life-threatening challenge? Savannah smirked. We'll see. He sighed. Marriage was supposed to be easier than this. Cole winced as he flexed his sore arms. Every muscle in his body ached, but at least he was still in one piece. The celebration feast was in full swing, with warriors gathered in the grand hall, their voices booming with laughter as they slammed heavy goblets onto the long wooden tables. Plates overflowed with unfamiliar but delicious-looking food. Thick roasted meats, steaming vegetables, and an assortment of strange fruits that glowed faintly in the dim lighting. Cole sat at the head table, right beside Savannah. His new wife looked far too amused at his suffering. You're handling the pain well, she said, sipping from a golden cup. Cole gave a tired grin. I'm smiling through the agony. Savannah chuckled. Good. You will need that strength. Cole froze mid-bite. Wait, for what? Before she could answer, A large warrior stood from his seat, raising his cup. The room fell silent. Tonight, the warrior bellowed, "We honor Cole Matthews, mate of our commander, for proving his worth in combat." The room erupted into cheers, warriors pounding their fists on the tables. Cole smiled weakly. "Nice speech. Does this mean no more trying to kill me?" Savannah smirked. "It means they will try to kill you with kindness. Be careful. That might be worse." Before Cole could respond, the warrior continued his speech. "And now, as is tradition, the honored warrior must partake in the drink of valor." Cole blinked. "The what now?" Savannah nudged him. "Drink. It's a show of strength." A massive ornate mug was placed in front of him. The liquid inside was a deep, shimmering blue, tiny flecks of gold swirling within. It looked both majestic and vaguely threatening. Cole hesitated. "And what happens if I drink it?" Savannah shrugged. "Depends. Some find enlightenment. Others," she gestured toward a warrior snoring loudly on the floor, "fall into a deep, dreamless sleep." Cole exhaled. "Great." The room watched him expectantly. He couldn't back down now. "All right, here goes." He grabbed the mug and took a deep sip. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, fire. His entire body felt like it had been set ablaze from the inside out. His skin tingled, his vision blurred, and for a split second, he swore he could hear colors. "Oh," he muttered, "that's strong." The warriors cheered, slamming their mugs together in celebration. Cole tried to steady himself, but the world tilted slightly. He turned to Savannah, blinking. "You are so pretty," he blurted out. Savannah raised a brow. "That drink works fast." Cole leaned in closer, resting his chin on his hand as he grinned lazily. "No, seriously. Like, I know I married you, but wow. You're just incredible." Savannah smirked. "Are you always this talkative when intoxicated?" Cole nodded enthusiastically, apparently. Savannah studied him for a moment, then leaned in, her voice low and teasing. "You should know something, Cole Matthews." He swallowed. "Yeah." She smirked. "This night is far from over." Cole's brain short-circuited. He wasn't sure whether to be thrilled or terrified. One thing was certain, though. Life with Savannah was never going to be boring. Cole woke up to a pounding headache and the distant sound of cheering. His mouth was dry, and his body felt like it had been used as a training dummy. He groaned, running a hand over his face. Never drinking that again. A soft chuckle made him turn his head. Savannah stood at the edge of the room, arms crossed, watching him with amusement. "You survived the drink of valor," she said. "Impressive." Cole sat up slowly, trying to remember everything from last night. There had been the feast, the drink, the cheering, and a lot of embarrassing compliments. He winced. "Did I say anything stupid?" he asked. Savannah smirked. "You called me the most stunning thing in the galaxy, and then asked if I could carry you to bed." Cole groaned. "Great." Savannah tilted her head, studying him. It was charming. Cole blinked. Was that a compliment? He decided not to push his luck. Before he could respond, a loud horn echoed through the halls. Savannah's expression shifted. "It's time," she said. Cole frowned. "Time for what?" Savannah walked over and tossed a tunic at him. "The official welcome ceremony. You proved yourself in battle, but now my people must accept you as one of us." Cole pulled the tunic over his head. "That sounds easy." Savannah's small smirk told him otherwise. "The ceremony begins." The ceremonial hall was packed with warriors, their armor gleaming under the torches. At the front stood the High Council, a group of elders dressed in deep crimson robes, their expressions stern and unreadable. Cole stood beside Savannah, trying not to fidget as hundreds of warriors stared at him. One of the elders stepped forward. "Cole Matthews," he said, his voice deep and commanding. "You have shown strength in battle. You have earned the right to stand before us. But strength alone is not enough. Cole raised an eyebrow. Oh, what else do I need? The elder's eyes glinted with amusement. You must prove your wisdom. Cole shot Savannah a side glance. Why do I feel like this is a trick? Savannah gave him a mischievous smile. The elder motioned to a warrior carrying a large sealed box. The box was placed in front of Cole. Inside, the elder said, are two objects. One represents peace. The other represents war. Choose correctly, and you will be accepted. Choose wrong, and you will be seen as a fool. Cole frowned. No pressure, right? He crouched down and lifted the lid. Inside were two objects, a dagger and a small round stone. Cole rubbed the back of his neck. The obvious answer would be the dagger. It was a warrior society, after all. But something about it felt too simple. He picked up the stone and held it up. The hall was silent for a long moment. Then the elder smiled. Well chosen. Cole exhaled in relief. The elder nodded. A warrior knows when to fight. A leader knows when to seek peace. The warriors slammed their fists to their chests in approval. Savannah leaned in and whispered, good choice. I was prepared to argue with them if you got it wrong. Cole grinned. Nice to know my wife is always ready for battle. The elder raised his hands. Let it be known, Cole Matthews is now one of us. The crowd erupted into cheers. Cole sighed in relief. He had survived battle, a mystical drink, and now a warrior's test of wisdom. One thing was certain, marrying Savannah was the craziest decision of his life, and he wouldn't trade it for anything. The celebration had barely ended when Cole realized something was wrong. He noticed the way the warriors exchanged glances, the tension in the air, and the way Savannah's shoulders stiffened. What's going on? He asked quietly. Savannah's jaw tightened. Tradition demands a final test. Cole groaned. Of course it does. She turned to him, her eyes serious. Don't joke. This is important. Cole straightened. What kind of test? Savannah hesitated, then gestured toward the training grounds, where a group of warriors stood waiting. Among them was a tall figure in dark armor, his stance proud and unyielding. That, Savannah said, her voice cold, is Varric. He is my clan's best fighter. He demanded this challenge the moment he heard I chose a human as my mate. Cole raised an eyebrow. Ah, so this is personal. Savannah crossed her arms. You don't have to do this. Cole looked at the warriors watching him. He looked at Varric, whose expression was pure arrogance. And finally, he looked at Savannah. She didn't say it outright, but he understood. If he backed down now, he would never truly belong. He smirked. I'll be fine. Savannah frowned. Cole. He kissed her quickly, cutting her off. Trust me. A murmur spread through the crowd as he stepped onto the training grounds. Varric grinned. Brave, but foolish. Cole rolled his shoulders, cracking his knuckles. Let's get this over with. The duel. A horn sounded, and Varric charged. Cole barely had time to dodge before a massive fist flew past his face. He ducked, rolling to the side. Okay, wow. You don't hold back. Varric didn't respond. He just attacked again, moving with lightning speed. Cole blocked, dodged, and countered, but the warrior was relentless. The crowd roared with excitement. Cole gritted his teeth. He wasn't as strong as Varric. He wasn't as fast. But he had something else. He had strategy. As Varric swung again, Cole sidestepped at the last second, using his opponent's own momentum against him. Varric stumbled forward, just a fraction, but it was enough. Cole swept his leg, sending the warrior crashing to the ground. Gasps echoed through the crowd. Cole stood over him, catching his breath. Had enough. Varric's eyes blazed with fury. Before Cole could react, the warrior lunged, tackling him hard. They hit the ground, grappling for control. Cole felt his ribs protest as Varric pinned him down. You are not worthy, Varric snarled. Cole, despite the pressure against his chest, smirked. Yeah. He lifted his knee, slamming it into Varric's stomach. The warrior choked, losing his grip for a split second. And that was all Cole needed. With a swift movement, Cole twisted free, using Varric's own weight to flip him over. Varric hit the ground, winded and stunned. Cole stood quickly, raising his fists. Varric stayed down. The crowd fell silent. Then, one by one, the warriors began to cheer. Acceptance. Cole turned to Zavanna. She was watching him with a mixture of pride and something deeper. He walked over, panting slightly, and grinned. Still think I needed saving. She shook her head, stepping closer. You were reckless. He smirked. You like that about me. She didn't deny it. The elder stepped forward. It is settled. Cole Matthews has proved himself. The warriors stamped their feet in approval. Zavanna placed her hand on Cole's chest. You are one of us now. Cole chuckled. Good, because I'm not going anywhere. And with that, the celebration truly began. The celebration roared to life the moment Cole was officially accepted into the clan. The great hall was packed with warriors, their voices filling the air as they feasted, laughed, and recounted tales of battles. The scent of roasted meats, exotic spices, and strong alien brews drifted through the room. Cole sat beside Zavanna at the high table, still feeling the ache in his ribs from his fight with Varric. He winced as he reached for a drink. Zavanna smirked. Hurts. Cole shot her a look. Just a little. She chuckled. You should be honored. Varric doesn't fight lightly. Oh, I noticed. Cole muttered, rubbing his side. Before he could say more, a large plate of food was placed before him. He eyed it warily. Up. What exactly am I eating? The warrior across the table laughed. You fear our food, human. Cole frowned. Not fear, just cautious. Zavanna picked up a piece of the roasted meat and took a bite, chewing slowly. Cole sighed. All right. If I die, I'm haunting you. He took a bite. To his surprise, the meat was rich, tender, and full of spices he had never tasted before. His eyes widened. Okay, that's actually good. The warriors around him laughed, slamming their fists on the table. One of them grinned. Then eat, human. You fought well today. Now, you feast. A drunken challenge. As the night went on, the alien brew flowed freely. Cole had no idea what was in it, but it was strong. Zavanna drank easily, barely reacting to the intense drink. Meanwhile, Cole struggled to keep his head from spinning. Varric, now in a slightly better mood, smirked at him from across the table. You fight well, human, but can you drink like a warrior? Cole blinked blearily. That sounds like a trap. Another warrior laughed. Only a trap if you are weak. The others cheered. Zavanna leaned closer, whispering, You don't have to prove anything. Cole grinned, despite himself. Oh, that I do. A massive drinking horn was placed before him, filled to the brim with the fiery alien brew. Cole took a deep breath. All right, let's do this. He tilted the horn back and drank. The liquid burned all the way down, but he didn't stop. The warriors roared in approval as he finished the drink in one go. He slammed the horn on the table, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. Not bad. Varric narrowed his eyes. Another. Zavanna rolled her eyes. Really? Cole grinned. Bring it on. A slight problem. After 3 more rounds, Cole started to realize he might have made a mistake. The room was tilting. The warriors cheered, but their voices sounded distant. Zavanna sighed. I told you this was a bad idea. Cole opened his mouth to respond, only for a sudden, loud, echoing sound to escape him. A fart. The entire hall fell silent. Cole froze. The warriors stared at him. Some looked shocked. Others looked disturbed. And then, Zavanna nearly fell off her chair. She clutched the table, her face frozen in disbelief. What was that? Cole blinked slowly, his drunken brain struggling to process what just happened. Ugh, that was a fart. Savannah's eyes widened. A what? Varric leaned forward, looking like he had just witnessed a cosmic event. You expelled gas through your body. Cole rubbed his face. Oh, come on. Don't tell me your species doesn't do that. The warriors exchanged glances, whispering among themselves. Savannah leaned in. You mean to tell me humans produce sounds like that? On purpose? Not on purpose, Cole said quickly. It just happens sometimes. One of the warriors leaned away from him. Disgusting. Humans are strange creatures. Savannah, however, was still staring at him like he had broken reality itself. You don't understand, she whispered. Cole frowned. Understand what? She looked at him, dead serious. In my culture, strange sounds from the body are considered a sign. Cole blinked. A sign of what? Savannah hesitated, then sighed deeply. A sign of great power. Cole stared. Then he started laughing. Hard. Oh my God. This is the best thing I've ever heard. Savannah groaned, rubbing her temples. You are impossible. Cole wiped a tear from his eye. Oh, I am so using this against you later. The warriors continued to whisper, glancing at Cole with newfound respect. He had come to prove himself in combat. But apparently, he had accidentally gained legendary status in the most ridiculous way possible. The next morning, Cole regretted everything. His head pounded like a war drum, and his mouth felt like he had chewed on dry sand. He groaned, barely able to open his eyes. Awake? The voice was too amused for his liking. Cole forced his eyes open and saw Savannah sitting nearby, arms crossed, watching him with a smirk. You survived the feast, she said. Barely, Cole muttered, rubbing his temples. What was in that drink? Savannah chuckled. Something too strong for humans. Cole sat up slowly, his body protesting every movement. And yet, I drank it. Multiple times. You also became a legend in one night. Cole groaned. Please tell me they forgot about the sound. Savannah grinned. Oh no, they remember. In fact, I heard a few warriors practicing the sacred noise this morning. Cole covered his face with his hands. I can never take back last night, can I? No, Savannah said, clearly enjoying his suffering. But on the bright side, you are now seen as a mystical human of great power. Cole let out a long sigh. Fantastic. A warrior's pledge. By noon, Cole had recovered enough to walk. The clan's elder warriors had gathered in the center of the fortress, waiting for him. Savannah stood beside him. This is your final trial. If you pass, you will not just be my mate. You will be accepted as one of us. Cole straightened. What do I have to do? Savannah gestured toward the elder in front of them. The elder stepped forward, his face stern and unreadable. You have proven strength, the elder said. You have shown honor in combat, but now you must make the pledge. He held out a small ceremonial blade, its metal dark with ancient engravings. Cole looked at Savannah. She gave him a small nod. Taking a deep breath, Cole accepted the blade. The elder continued, You must swear to stand with our clan, to protect our people, and to fight alongside us in battle. This is no light oath. Cole met the elder's gaze. I understand. He sliced the blade lightly across his palm, just enough to let a single drop of blood fall onto the sacred stone before him. I swear, he said, I will stand with this clan. I will fight for my mate, for my people, and for our future. The warriors pounded their chests, letting out a cry of approval. The elder nodded. Then you are one of us. A moment of peace. Later that night, Cole and Savannah stood on the fortress wall, looking out over the rugged landscape. The sky above was deep purple, filled with stars unlike any Cole had ever seen. Savannah spoke first. You did well today. Cole smirked. Not bad for a human. She chuckled. Not bad at all. They stood in companionable silence, the wind cool against their skin. Finally, Savannah turned to face him. You made a great sacrifice, leaving your old life behind. Cole looked at her. I didn't lose anything. I gained something better. Savannah's gaze softened. You're certain? Cole stepped closer, taking her hand. More than anything. For the first time, Savannah's tough warrior mask cracked. She squeezed his hand, her grip strong and sure. You truly are one of us now, she said. Cole smiled. Good, because I'm not going anywhere. The morning air was cool and crisp, carrying the distant sounds of warriors training below. Cole stood at the edge of the fortress wall, gazing at the horizon. This was his home now. A few weeks ago, he was just a human outsider, stumbling into an alien world full of warrior customs, dangerous traditions, and impossible expectations. Now he was one of them. Behind him, Savannah approached, her footsteps light but certain. She stopped beside him, watching the landscape in silence. You're thinking too much, she said. Cole smirked. I do that a lot. She tilted her head, regretting your choice. He turned to her, shaking his head. Not for a second. A sudden loud noise echoed through the courtyard below, a warrior attempting to copy the sound Cole had made during the feast. Cole groaned. They're still doing that. Savannah smirked. You changed our culture in one night. Great, he muttered. That's my legacy now. She chuckled. Not just that. Before he could ask what she meant, the fortress doors swung open, and a group of warriors arrived. The elder warrior leading them gave Cole a firm nod. It is time, the elder said. Cole glanced at Savannah. She gave him a look that said, You'll be fine. Still, his stomach tightened. The final step. In the heart of the fortress, the warriors had gathered for a final ceremony. A large stone stood at the center, ancient symbols carved deep into its surface. This was the stone of unity, the mark of an official bond between two warriors. Savannah stood across from him, looking as strong and confident as ever. But there was something softer in her eyes, something even she couldn't hide. The elder raised his hand, silencing the crowd. Today we recognize a new warrior among us. He has fought, he has endured, and he has proven his heart is strong. Cole took a steady breath. Cole of Earth, the elder continued, do you swear to stand beside Savannah, to fight with her, to share in her victories and burdens? Cole met Savannah's gaze. I swear. The elder turned to Savannah. Savannah of the Varanai, do you swear to stand beside Cole, to trust him as your equal, to share in his triumphs and trials? She didn't hesitate. I swear. The elder gestured to the ceremonial band beside the stone. It was made of woven metal, crafted from both earthly and Varanai materials. Savannah picked it up first, securing it around Cole's wrist. Then he did the same for her. The warriors let out a mighty cheer, the sound shaking the air. It was done. A warrior's promise. That night, the fortress was alive with celebration, but Cole and Savannah had slipped away to the quiet training grounds. Cole stretched his arms. You know, I never thought my life would end up like this. Savannah smirked. You expected something else. Maybe something less life-threatening. He grinned. But then again, this is more exciting. She stepped closer, her expression turning serious. You stood against my people, and they accepted you. You could have left, but you stayed. Cole reached for her hand, holding it between his. Because you're worth it. For a moment, Savannah just studied him, as if committing this moment to memory. Then she did something she had never done before. She leaned in and pressed her forehead against his, a gesture of deep trust in her culture. Cole closed his eyes, feeling the warmth of the moment. I don't belong anywhere else, he murmured. Savannah's voice was soft but firm. Then you are home. And for the first time in his life, Cole knew it was true.